Morning and welcome to Eight of Cups Tarot. Today I'm going to be going over the astrology for the week of February 2nd until February 9th. There's a lot of Venus going on this week. There's a lot of love. We're talking about love this week. Venus also talks about your money, your values, your self-worth. But Venus is at the very end of Pisces, and as she goes through this week, she is hitting up on the points of the conjunction that we just had. She is making a sextile first to Pluto, and then immediately following, she will sextile Saturn. So let's talk about what that means. First of all, the Venus sextile Pluto can be a very sexual encounter. But it can talk to us of deep obsessions, of maybe where we sacrifice too much of ourselves and where we get lost. And that Pluto will bring up things from our subconscious level. So it will introduce themes in your life that need to be under review. Why are we going to review it? Because Pisces is where Mercury is going to retrograde, and it also enters its shadow today. So just know that the things that we're dealing with this week will all be up for review very soon. We will have the ability to restructure, recreate, and revisit these issues. But right now, when Venus meets up with Pluto, it's a little bit more of facing maybe even our inner demons. And there is a healing aspect as well because Venus is at the end of Pisces. So it is the understanding of yourself, how you love and how you value yourself, as well as where you sacrifice yourself. As soon as she finishes this sextile with Pluto, she moves into a sextile with Saturn, which is a little bit more of a restructuring energy in Capricorn. It is a little bit about divine timing as well. And again, we're activating the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. So it's revisiting that conjunction that we experienced, where we might have met challenges or losses or had to walk away from some things, things that just didn't work out, things that needed to be left behind. Again, we've been getting really comfortable with the leaving things behind. That South Node, even, as of a few weeks ago, met up with Jupiter, so it was sort of the final purge. Venus is going to bring in a healing aspect to what we have experienced. Venus is going to allow you to restructure these new beginnings, but she's going to bring it to you through deep emotions, through the subconscious. So there's still a lot of work to be done where this conjunction occurred. And now is a fantastic time to look at the way that you can forgive. Maybe forgive things from your past, work on that healing. And it's also a time to dream. And it's a time to dream big because Mercury is at the very end of Aquarius. It is in its shadow today. It's going to go all the way to 16 degrees Pisces, and then it's going to retrograde back to this 28 degrees Aquarius. So what Mercury is talking to us about is where our need for individual freedom, where our thought processes, we may tend to structure things on more of a data type of a scientific, intellectual level. We could intellectualize our thoughts. Things can look good on paper. But as Mercury moves into Pisces, we start to really consider our deep feelings. So this is a lot of relationship energy that's coming in. And it could be relationships, love relationships, family relationships and dynamics, even co-workers in the workplace. It is also a lot about finances. So there may be financial issues going on as well that need to be addressed and healed. So when we look at that individual freedom versus our need for compassion, forgiveness, the melting of our boundaries and our ability to connect at a soul level with others, and building the dream of what we want for our future. This can come in a lot of very subconscious ways. When Mercury enters into Pisces, there's not a lot of verbal communication. It's more of a feeling and a knowing. It's literally things coming to us in dreams. And it is a lot of spiritual work. So just know we're going to be covering those themes as we go into this. The general things will apply for retrograde Mercury. Again, travel, confusion, miscommunication. All of that will be themes, and we'll talk about that more in the next couple of weeks as we're going through it. But this is a shadow phase, so the things that you're doing now, the things that are being discussed or coming to you, know that there could be levels of confusion. Neptune is involved. There could be levels of misunderstandings and haziness, and we're going to have to go back and revisit this to understand it. But right now, it's more of what your subconscious and your inner knowing and your intuition is telling you at this time. We also, at the end of the week, have some pretty big moves going on with Venus as she leaves Pisces. She enters Aries, where she is at her detriment. Now, Venus actually can gain a lot of strength in Aries, but she has to be demanding. She has to ask that her needs be met, and she can be demanding and cranky if she is not getting what she wants. So there may be an energy of impatience in the love department by the end of the week. When Venus moves into Aries, and the energy is always very strong during an ingress for the first couple of degrees, and then it depends on where it's hitting in your chart, and as it moves out, then there's another burst of energy as it ingresses into the next sign. But as Venus moves into 0 degrees of Aries, up those first couple of degrees, not only is she very clear on what she wants and willing to communicate it in Aries. Aries is very outspoken. She's also coming up on a conjunction with Chiron. So this could bring up issues of how you're going to move on as far as healing those old wounds and your ability to move on from them. Venus will want to get through those. She will want to express them. She will want to talk about them. She will also activate fears. And this is where we have to be really careful because we're doing a lot of healing work. The Mercury is in Pisces, so we're feeling situations out. Venus is going to trigger this point in Aries by the end of the week where she kind of says, I've been here before. I know what's going to happen. I know this feeling and it's not good for me. I want to walk away. Or there could be a lot of, I've been here before, I walked away, now I'm going to go after what I want. So there still continues to be a bit of a struggle between what's best for you and where your responsibilities lie with others and how you want to bring that into the next level. Now, we are still figuring things out from this conjunction, and we will continue to until the end of March. Then Saturn's going to start doing a little bit of an interesting thing where he moves into Aquarius. He's not going to move very far in Aquarius. He's going to back into Capricorn, which I think Saturn, being the planet of karma, will send some challenges or some universal testing to make sure that we're making the progress we need to make in our lives, that we're healing those old wounds and getting the ability to move on from a better, stronger place. So those are the themes that we're going to be carrying through the week, right up until a full moon on the 8th or 9th. So we're talking about Saturday, Sunday, and Monday's energy. This full moon is in Leo at 20 degrees, and it is really a beautiful moon. It's going to bring us some fire. It's going to bring us a knowing of where we're comfortable standing out in the world. When we have a full moon in Leo, there's very little resisting what our heart truly wants to connect to. The power and the determination in that Leo sign. If you think about the lion, he is the provider, the protector, and he has so much love. He's a leader. So this may be where we make choices that are for the greater good and where we need to protect our heart. It could also make us determine what we truly want to go after, what is worth our time and attention. It could also fall in a part of your chart where you're ready to stand out, where you're willing to put your creative efforts out there in a way where you are vulnerable but confident at the same time. And I really love that this full moon happens at the same time that Venus moves into Aries, because I think that there's sometimes we can approach situations where we're afraid to stand up for what we want and need. And this energy is going to come in, and it talks to us about this transformation that we've been undergoing throughout this eclipse and conjunction period. And it talks to the new version of us. It talks to, what do you want to do next? Where are the decisions? What's going to fit you best for your future? We're planting seeds now. We're healing. We're grieving our losses. We're forgiving ourselves. We're showing more compassion to ourselves than ever before. And now we're going to get a little bit of that strength and motivation to leave the past behind and start really heading towards that future. These are just seeds. It will take another month or two for things to start actually manifesting. So it is very important that you dream, and you dream big at this time. Don't sell yourself short. And do not participate in those conversations with yourself where you say things like, I can't, I'm not capable of, I don't have enough, or I'm not ready. Because Venus won't tolerate that. And the moon in Leo creating this energy, it's not going to tolerate that either. And these are energies that are speaking to people that are willing to take the leap right now. It's a really beautiful energy to harness, and I hope that we could all make the best of it. A little tidbit about Venus in Aries, it could bring up a lot of sexual tension. It's just an energy of wanting to move and to get things done, and it is a primal cardinal sign. So it does talk a little bit, whenever Venus finds herself in a Mars sign, there could be tension, but the tension can be worked out by using the energy in different ways. So it can create a very sexual relationship or very sexual encounters that we have. If you are not involved in those types of situations and you can't use that energy in a healthy way, in that realm, then use her to exert your body. Use her to start a new workout routine, weightlifting. Cardio work is really good at this time because you'll be able to relieve some of the tension. Like I said, Venus can get really cranky and really crabby if her needs aren't met. So if you are not dating anybody or seeing anybody or in that kind of a relationship, you can get in trouble here. You could be a little bit, dare I say, bitchy and aggressive. And so there needs to be a release of that energy in some form, in a very healthy form. So it's a really good time by the end of the week to start a new workout practice or something like that that's going to help you to use that energy in a healthy manner. Let's talk about the moons this week. Today, our moon is in Taurus until tomorrow morning. The moon in Taurus talks about the manifesting. It could be, again, a time food becomes very important. You know, there's kind of a need to feed your soul and to nurture yourself here. It could be wanting to buy the nice things, and that's okay if you want to spend a couple extra dollars and buy some fresh flowers for your house. Taurus speaks to us about spring, about the beginnings. So that's a nice way to use the energy. Cooking yourself a nutritious meal. Just the general care of yourself and your surroundings. That moon is actually going to be going through a trine with the Saturn and Pluto as well. So again, today especially, there's a lot of that sexual energy going on. Taurus is kind of a area where we want to consume, and Pluto talks to us about obsessions, and Saturn talks to us about limits. So there's a healthy mix here between determining where the healthy limits are, where we're willing to sort of maybe even overindulge a little bit. Moving into Monday and Tuesday, the moon goes into Gemini. When the moon hits Gemini, it gets a little bit overwhelmed, right? A Gemini is not known to be an extremely emotional place. So the moon has to process a lot of facts. It has to process communication. And there has to be a balance between the productivity and the connection that we have. The emotional connections to the things that we're doing and processing. On Wednesday and Thursday, the moon will be in Cancer. This is one of my favorite placements because I have a Cancer moon. This is a time when we want to maybe focus on our home, our children, our families, our intuition. Again, take a look at this area for dreams and intuition, spirituality. And in Cancer, it also may bring up some triggering. Again, it's going to sextile the Saturn and Pluto. It's going to sextile the Uranus. So as it moves through all of those placements, Cancer is where we connect, and it's also where we need to protect ourselves. So with Pisces, with Venus at the end of Pisces, just getting ready to move into Aries, this is a time to sort of decipher maybe information that came in on Monday and Tuesday with that Gemini moon. Wednesday and Thursday, we're processing what makes us feel good, what makes us feel safe, what makes us feel uneasy, the need to retreat back into the shell and be protective of ourselves. All of this is going to come to a head on Friday through Sunday with that Leo moon and the full moon there. Again, where we decide to choose ourselves, where we decide to go with where we stand out, where we feel confident in these areas in our life. This is a little bit of a softer version of what we have coming up. I think the end of the month might introduce a little bit more challenge, but the beginning of February is a lot of internal work that we're doing, a lot of connecting with our significant others in our life. And significant, I'm still talking about, even business partnerships or co-workers or people that we rely on. Connections with our children even, and how we're approaching and handling those situations. This week could also, as Venus sextiles Saturn and sextiles Pluto, in the sign of Neptune, we could hear a little bit more or see a little bit more action with this virus that's going around. Because Mars is at the very end of Sag now, it is airborne. It is now moving into other countries and spreading. Mars carries a lot of fire at the end of Sag, so things could spread. So I do expect that we're going to be dealing with a little bit more of this fear of this virus. And so you want to do things where you could protect yourself, stay healthy, get the vaccines that you need to get if that's what you're worried about, wash the hands, be aware if you want to, sometimes if you have a moon in Pisces or Pisces placements, you could become extremely afraid of your health. So when Pluto's involved, you don't want to get too obsessed with the thoughts of this virus going around or the fact that you could get this virus. The better way to look at this is that you're going to do what you need to do to keep yourself healthy. But stay open and stay aware and maybe do the research to find ways that can better protect yourself from it. There may be more restrictions as far as travel again this week. I see a lot of that as Mars is at the end of Sag. When Mars starts to move into Capricorn, we will see a little bit of a better energy, and that talks to us about boundaries. So we might, as the middle of February, I believe Mars moves in around the 16th or the 17th. We may hear more news of quarantines or that they have a handle on this. But until then, I think it may play on a lot of the subconscious fears of the collective, and you want to keep that in check. I think that's about it this week. Again, remember the things that we're dealing with right now will be up for review during the retrograde Mercury. So feel your way through it right now. Don't make any sudden decisions. Don't. Venus in Aries may want you to, or give you the need to make sudden and drastic decisions, and including that Leo full moon. There may be things that you need to act on quickly in order to harness an opportunity that comes your way, especially regarding finances right now. Also remember when Venus moves into Aries, that's a tricky point for finances because it could cause you to overspend or to kind of feel like you have more to spend than you really do. So just be careful with finances at the end of the week. Try to keep a limit and a control on those. It could be a good day to stay away from Target. I always talk about Target being a really, you just walk into that store for two things and suddenly it's $300 and I don't even know what I came home with. So for me, myself, I know at the end of the week, I will try to stay away from any of those opportunities where I can overspend and kind of keep control over those impulses. I really do think it's going to be a nice week, and I wish everybody the best and try to harness all that healing energy that's around us right now. I'll be talking to you soon. Have a wonderful week. Bye.